Hey guys, welcome back to Three Swords Productions. If you're new to the channel, I'm Steven and this is Alex.
Hello.
Tonight we're going to be commentating over some games we recorded during our live stream yesterday. Nathan actually had a chance to pilot the Film Kid deck that crushed a local or a recent Treasure Cup. That deck is insanely fun. We played about 10 games against it, and it felt really consistent. So unfortunately for me, I got kind of rocked all night. As I kind of learned how to play against it. The deck is really powerful. It looked like a lot of fun on his side. He was certainly having a good time winning. But yeah, I don't think Alex saw these games, so it should be fun for him to get to see the power, a little bit of the flexing. You ready?
Yeah, I think film is unexplored.
Well, certainly, this man explored it last night, so let's go. All right, so we have a bit of setup here. I'm just going to kind of skip ahead to the good part here. And on my side, I'm actually the one playing Luffy tonight, so Nathan piloted the Film Kid deck. Let's see how he starts here. So we're going to start off with a Nami. Look at the top 5 cards. Oh, is that a whiff though? Unfortunate. Them's the beats. You sometimes you're a little bit lighter on straw hats. But you know what? Still get Luffy's ability there, so you get a lot of action. You're now a 6K for the rest of that turn. Pass back and you become a 5K. So let's see how Nathan deals with that. He's gonna go second. So on that side, I think a lot of passing happens because a lot of the plays you want to make are revolving around playing Brook into Nami, or playing Nami down on turn when you have when you have the available Dawn in order to use her ability.
Yeah, who could have guessed that a Nami searcher is good and that they printed a green one?
Yeah, true. Well, it's only good if obviously if you put a lot of films and cards in your deck. Now, what they needed to do to successfully make that Nami good was make all of the film cards very strong. And I didn't think they did that until I played against this kid deck, and then now I'm a believer. The Brook ability is insanely powerful. Being able to, for 4 Dawn, put into play a Nami and then also add a card to your hand for a total of 5 is insanely powerful because you have 2 5Ks for 5 Dawn. As a Sanji player, I respect that energy.
Yeah, I'm getting a little deja vu from Sanji.
Yeah, except your leader doesn't suck. Your leader is very good in Kid, so you have a lot of the fast actions that Sanji gets, but you also have a lot of the backing it up, right, with your leader. So you're not just relying on event cards.
Yeah, the leader is the backup plan.
Yeah, it really is. Imagine if you went into a matchup where, like, Sanji's here, but the backup plan is Kid. All right, and we're going to see some of that. Unfortunately, he didn't lead on Nami this time, so we're not going to get to see the Nami search here, but he did have a Brook into Usopp with some straight-up Sanji action. Gotta love to see it. Okay, and he's and what I really like from the kid side is that, on Luffy's side, I did make I played a Nami, and then I played a Curly to Dan, which is, arguably a very good start for me. Unfortunately, what happened was it just wasn't good enough, right? Because a single Brook, and now he's caught up with me. He has 2 5Ks, and I have, 1K and a 3K. So
Yeah, the new Luffy deck, plays with the Dedans, and unfortunately, Nami's and Dedans are smaller bodies, and it's not Zoro. So it is harder for Luffy to get them to 5.
yeah.
But they are useful to clear, small blockers or tapped characters.
Well, I think where they really shine is in the Zoro matchups, or other Luffy
It's just the
mirrors.
fact it can check small stuff,
Right? Yeah.
while getting you free cards in hand.
Yeah, you really get to contest like the law package, all that kind of thing. Certainly not. This is not the matchup where those cards really dominate, But apparently now you have to be ready for this kind of action. So the Luffy decks are going to have to adjust for this strategy.
Yeah, you can't surprise your opponent with a bunch of Makinos pumping Dedan, but the Dedan can get in their late game if left unchecked.
Absolutely. Makino actually pumps a 1K, I believe.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you can't.
You can't. You can't.
So the Nami can at least threaten the triple Makino turn or some of the crazy stuff you've seen, but Dedan can't.
Right. So I'm gonna have to really dig. I have 5. I have 5 down here. I'm gonna have to find some kind of pressure. Hopefully, I can put down a Luffy. I don't believe we're playing any of the red vanillas in this deck, but we are gonna need to apply some pressure. Certainly, I'm looking at those the 3 cost cards in my hand and thinking, hey, is this a way I can kind of get some action this turn? I need to deal a damage here, so we're gonna swing for 5. Hopefully, put him down to 3. On his side, looking at his hand right now, he's got a lot of counter power. I think he just takes it because he's feeling pretty safe. I think he wants those cards. Also, he's staring at Paradise Tatsuka. He did just pick up the Nami, so there it is. Right, it came off of that attack.
Yeah, I don't know how many times, obviously you want more cards, especially early game. But I don't know how many times cards I want are literally in the first 2 life.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good when they are there. Certainly, like he was able to brook in Usopp. If he were able to brook in Nami, it actually would have not been as powerful as brook Usopp because he did not have a Don to pay for the Nami. So he, going into the next turn is the first time he can actually use the Nami ability. So I actually think that being the second life there was exactly perfect. Very good. So we're gonna come across for 6K here. I believe that's 3 Don attached to the Curly Dan. Maybe it's only 2. I believe it's 3 though.
He is aggressively taking life.
Yeah, and I think that's fine for him because the Nami's about to generate a lot of advantage. Now he's sitting on a lot of cards in hand. It's going to be very difficult for me to deal with his board. He's sitting on 2 5K attackers as well, so he can really contest my board back. Now, the Nico Robin could be something, but he is holding Paradise Tatsuka, so he does have the option. I don't know if he wants to do that, but he does have the option of tapping down my Nico Robin and attacking it.
Yeah, it's not a Cat Viper, but it's 1 mana and taps 4 drops.
Yeah, I mean, in this matchup, it's almost as good as
and it's got a good trigger.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm liking that card. I actually piloted that card in my regional attempt, or at the Treasure Cup attempt this past weekend. Unfortunately, all blues and did not draw that card on time, so it wasn't great. But I like the card. It's a very anti-reds strategy. I really like that. I appreciate it. He does go ahead and fire it off in order to tap down Nico Robin, and we're going to get a 6K attack on Nico. This is really cool because he does threaten, not that I think he'll be able to do that, but if I tried to counter out, he does have one more attack with Brooks that's going to require another 2K, and he has his leader ability also to pressure it again, so, kind of double action. I kind of just have to look at my Nico Robin and say, hey, I want to fight over you, but you're lost.
Yeah, sorry, baby.
Yeah. And I'm going to counter out with Mass Deuce to keep my life total a bit higher. And Frankie comes down. So interesting, he did not play the Nami there. He's actually looking at his board and saying, hey, I need to have a bit beefier characters than 5K because your hand is getting a little bit large. I know you have 2Ks in your hand, so when I attack, I need you to lose 2 cards without any Dawn efficiency lost on my side. So I really like the control that he had in playing that Frankie out just now.
Yeah, I think he just cleared your board and he's filling up his with big swingers every turn. So
yeah,
if you have to use a pistol or something to clear it, that's too slow.
Right. Well, I can't even do that against the 7K, right? So
yeah.
Pretty good there. Yeah, definitely. I think that he looked at that and said, Nami could look a little weaker if my opponent happened to clear these 2 characters that I have. So let me just play Frankie down instead. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, for Luffy, this is where I just pivot to going face.
Yeah, you can see that he's now at 1, and that's exactly the route that I've taken. I'm at 4, and I have a bunch of cards in my hand. Unfortunately, playing this Luffy does tap me out, so it's not great. But it is an attack for 7 here. We're trying to whittle down the cards in his hand. He didn't play the Nami last turn, so that of course, that is a little bit less advantage that he has. But he is now attacking with 4 characters on my life, and I'm at 4. Unfortunately, the Radical Beam is not going to have an ability this turn. I am holding 3 2K power though. 3 2K counter.
Yeah, you still have 4 life.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of life. Yeah. Again, a situation where I really, really need to protect this Luffy, but I just don't feel like I can because of the number of attacks that he has on Luffy.
Yeah, he definitely is a torpedo. It feels bad to just swing 7 only.
Yeah.
When you play that Luffy, because he is a just win the game card, unless you have multiple, and that's usually what I do. If you see me throw out a Luffy just to take a life or something, I probably have another one.
Well, I'm really hoping that I have one somewhere in my life, or a Nami to search for another one, because I think that playing characters out at this point doesn't really put me on a line that wins the game. I think the best thing I can do is swing for 7s for the rest of the game, and just hope that that's enough. So that's why I took that line. The rest of my hand all being counter power as well. Because there certainly was the option of playing down 3-cost Luffy, the promo.
Oh yeah, I would never play that.
Well, on the following turn it is going to have another 7K, so I'd actually get 7K a 7K without too much going on.
The problem is this next turn against the guy that runs Paradise Tatsuki.
Right, yeah, because I'm not going to be able to rely on blockers at all against the Paradise. And he is holding Punk Gibson in hand as well. That seems to have been a recent pickup for him. And that Punk Gibson's going to be quite a lot, in this upcoming turn where now he's dealing 3 damage to me
Ooh, you're
here.
taking a lot of 5s.
I took those 5s because I did still feel like I wanted to find Luffy. I felt like that was a really good way to close out the game. He goes to 1. I've eaten a couple of cards out of his hand already. Now, the one thing I'm really not considering is Punk Gibson, of course. So. And Jory Bonnie being able to add Luffy just really rounds out the rest of the deck. It feels so nice. Like, the whole thing just feels like a good circular, deck building style there.
Yeah, just green doing green things.
Green doing green things for sure. Punk Gibson's in hand, just looking very gorgeous.
And he got the blocker.
And I've got a full grip here, and it looks like I have every promo Luffy out of my deck.
Yeah, it looks like you're playing Whitebeard.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, my hand's a little bit slower than I would like. This is really where not having 4 Zoros really shows, because I'd like to have more than one Rush character right now. But unfortunately, it is just the one Zoro in my hand, so, the Punk Gibson tapping down a character is actually going to be very pivotal.
Yeah, when I start the game with 2 Zoros in my hand and a Nami, it's like, oof, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. But my opponent also having a lot of cards in hand right now. So, between the Bonnie, between, multiple things happening, it's actually very hard to attack him down because of the number of cards in his hand. And where I would swing for 7, which is what I keep doing to try and get 2 cards out of his hand, the Punk Gibson representing, hey, only 1, he's actually staying really card efficient too. This is an attack for 9, trying to get through the Punk Gibson plus 1 more. And of course, he has the blocker for that, so. Okay. We're going to untap here. And this is probably just the end of the game here.
Yeah, it's sad that Nami didn't get to swing on the Bonnie.
Right, the Punk Gibson really pressuring. It's also sad that I didn't get to make more 5K attacks with the Nami. Nami could have been around a little bit. I definitely could have swung. I could have started the turn with Nami swing on Bonnie. That could have been an option. So that's possibly a misplay on my part. I was really looking for the Nami to be an attacker on face this turn. So I could have also started by going 5K face. But that's 3 Dawn, and I want the Dawn, to be able to pay for my characters first, and then use the Luffy ability.
Yeah, that's something I consider too. You want that extra Dawn, and it's awkward because you want to play a character, and there's obviously triggers and stuff. So you just have to be like, am I willing to get blown out if I play this card first and then swing on life?
Right. Yeah. Now, admittedly, I'm still very new to red, so red's not typically a color that I play outside of Strawbeard. I do kind of get down on some Strawbeard. But certainly this Luffy deck is a challenge for me, so I'm thinking through a lot of lines. And of course, I am very familiar with green, but the Punk Gibsons are really getting me today.
Punk Gibson's a very good card.
Yeah, it's feeling good. And now he's down to just a few cards in hand. He's still holding on to that Nami that he had earlier in hand, though. So he's actually had a lot of discipline not playing the Nami out. So we might just see 7-drop come down, put Nami into play, and then add cards to his hand just for more counterpower.
Yeah, discipline is I just think he doesn't have to.
Right. He not needing to, realizing that, hey, and this is why I say discipline on Nathan's part. He's becoming very good at this game, understanding the tempo, the way that the game is flowing right now, and saying, hey, another 5K on the table, even though it adds a card to my hand, might not be as powerful as Frankie or whatever else I'm doing.
Yeah, and he's already got the Bonnie that's
exactly
generating cards.
Bonnie's doing the thing already. There's no reason to commit 4 Dawn onto the table to put a 5K into play. Let's actually use that to put 7Ks into play or something bigger. I respect it. That's all.
Yeah, and he already established the bodies, and you obviously can't catch up fast enough, so you have to go face. So then it becomes a race, and he just gets to hold up his Dawn for defense.
Yep, for defense. Yeah, he's feeling very, very Sanji. I like it.
Yeah, that is Sanji tactic.
And then he just plays the 7-drop Luffy here. Decides I don't think he puts anything to play. I think we're gonna play out the Nami, no ability. So we do not see a search this turn, representing another Punk Gibson. That would be Punk Gibson number 3 here.
Yeah, I'm sure that time he's like, okay, the Nami that I didn't kill is gonna swing on Bonnie anyway, so I might as well pitch it.
Yeah. And that ate my entire hand to defend out of that, so this is kind of big. If he does have Punk Gibson, then that's probably going to wrap up the game for me. If he doesn't, I do have a couple of bigger attacks. So we'll just have to make this first attack and kind of see where we land here. Also, I believe I held back the Makino in hand, I believe, to make the Nami kind of a surprise bigger attacker. So we are going to be looking for, that Nami to swing. So if we do see Punk Gibson here, we will be very upset about it.
Yeah, obviously you want to save your 2Ks for bigger swings. But Makino and Otama are just like insanely good to hold on to late game. And then if you don't need them as counter power, you can use them offensively. Otama to kill a big threat, or Makino to turn a small guy into a big guy.
Okay, and that is Punk Gibson number 3 coming down to tap down the Nami. Unfortunate. There goes my last. I'm not holding any other rush, so it's really just my leader. And we're gonna see a half-hearted attack for 7 here, but we all know the game is gone. Okay, and I don't believe I have enough counter to protect myself, so we are gonna dig, see if we can pick up another radical beam here. That is another rush Luffy in there, so that is an option. Oh, I think that's actually Curly Dedan. Sorry. Does look like an event. Is that Jet? Okay, it's going to be a Red Hawk. Red Hawk going to serve as another radical beam for us, so we actually do have a little bit more counter power in our hand than we thought. That's very nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, everything on his board is higher than a 4.
Right. I'm not going to be able to just murder anything with the Red Hawk ability, but it is another 2K counter out of my hand, so that is super important to note.
Yeah, it's mainly for Zoro and Law.
Okay. So because of the game plan is Radical Beam plus Red Hawk here, we are absolutely just going to play out characters that don't counter. So we just look at the Gordon and say, hey, you're going to come down the table. There's no reason to like just hold the mana back for nothing. I think that is the only card in my hand though that I'd be willing to like lose. So I just play that out and pass. Okay, and on the kid side here, he's a lot of decisions to make, but I think you're staring at an opponent who has a lot of cards in hand, and they have no blockers, and you just have 7 attacks. You don't really need to think too much about it.
Yeah.
You just go, oh, we're doing 5Ks. You'll lose a card every time. I think he has almost as many attackers as I do cards in hand, so not a lot to think about here. We're just gonna come across Red Hawk out of a 5K swing. Or I guess that's a 7K swing. And then we're going to Radical Beam onto that. And I have about 1 card left in my hand. And it does not counter. So that is the end of that game. Pretty good, though. I mean, that is a very good showing for the Film Kid deck. It was able to keep pressure on me the entire time. He didn't even need to play the Nami. I don't think we saw a single Nami come down in order to get all those cards in his hand. So
yeah, he just dropped those 3 characters. And he did get himself really low. And, red player, you can smell like the blood in the water, but unfortunately he didn't get that many rush cards, and then yeah, he just started generating cards with Bonnie.
Yep.
And then unfortunate sequencing, you didn't get to swing on the Nami, so the Bonnie got to go again.
Yep.
And then yeah, before you knew it felt like you were playing against a drop kid.
Right, yeah, like all the Punk Gibsons really like helped out. So, well, that's the end of that game, guys. Thanks so much for watching again. We will be live streaming every Monday starting around 7:30 or 8. Thanks for tuning in though. If you haven't already, consider subscribing so you get notifications when new videos go up every day, as well as when we do surprise live streams, which have been actually happening a lot more than I thought they would. So, but again, thanks so much, and we will see you in the next one.